And welcome back. We apologize for the extended break, but as you saw, the players are being set up in the booths. The player booths are here, and they do have to kind of switch between the PCs and sit up here so we can get the player cams going for our two lovely players. We're about to dive into a very short series of TVZ, and why do I say short? Because of our Zerg player. He has a reputation. He is known for rushing, for being hyper aggressive, and I'm sure that's going to be the case in this series as well. As we dive into our first match of Group A, we just wrapped up earlier here with a PvZ between Rudzin and Paranoid. Paranoid, of course, returning after a very, very long hiatus after being retired for 7+ years. And now we are here with our Terran versus Zerg. And here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta. We have the Polish Terran player, the Red Terran. It is Miszu. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing his new team, recently joining the Platinum Heroes. It is Snoxtar. Why is he on the Spanish edition of the Platinum Heroes? Wait, what? Why is he on Platinum Espanol? What? I'm confused. A little bit confused. But here we go. We're diving into this. Maybe ESP stands for something else, but that is Platinum. That is one of the old clan tags, right? Huh. Regardless, we are getting into this, and so far it is going to be that could be a reason for that. It is public information that there are some rule changes happening. There's some rule changes happening for WTL, where teams can no longer have like secondary divisions that they can like field. So if you remember, the Platinum Heroes, they had the Platinum Vultures competing in the qualifiers of World Team League. And then in the new season of World Team League, I believe they do require a separate team. You can't have a smaller division. So this could be that. This could be a bit of a precursor to that. It's possible. It's possible. Regardless, we're getting into this. It's going to be a Hashgas Pool standard opener here at a Snoxtar. Snoxtar, he is known for being cheesy, known for being aggressive. My eyes are on the Zerg player to see what kind of shenanigans we're about. Meanwhile, Miszu, he is the Mass BC tyrant of the FFA. He is our FFA champion. He's already won one show match. Can he win another? As I don't really know how I want to compare these two players. I think I still want to favor Snoxtar, but that might just be because we cast more of him here on the CranKy Ducklings. I'm a little bit less familiar with Miszu. I'm curious how they face off in a 1v1 instead of the FFA format. Instead of that FFA, meanwhile, Reaper does dip in. Lings are in position. We will be able to zone this away, and Snoxtar can get his own economy up and running again. He was not a part of the FFA. Snoxtar was left out of that. So I'm sure he wants his hand, he wants his try at Miszu. Behind this is going to be an economic opener. It's going to be a third CC before Starport. It's a very economic here out of Miszu. Miszu did play Mass BC, a more mech style. No, my apologies. He went bio into Mass BC in the FFA, so I imagine we're going to be seeing a bio opener as well. I imagine it won't be mech, but we'll see. We'll see what he whips out. As we have our add-on swap, there's that Starport on the way. We have Hellions initially into, I imagine, a Tech Lab, into an add-on swap, into Banshees. A very standard meta opener out of Miszu. Across the map, Lings are going to be headed towards that mineral line as well. The Reaper is back at home alongside a Marine, and the Lings, they do dip in for a moment here. Can we get a kill on an SCV? Reaper is going to be dealt with. We do dive on top of the Mule of all things, and we cannot bring it down. Lings get cleaned up. The Mule survives. So far, good defense out of Miszu. Bit of an overextension from Snoxtar. Doesn't achieve too much. And back at home, we're getting into Roaches, which is kind of what I expected. A Roach heavy play here at a Snoxtar. Can he make this work? Behind this, third base is getting up and running. We're just going to be droning, getting our bases up, getting our bases saturated. Queens are being produced, and there is that add-on swap. There is the Banshee opener. So Hellions into Banshee play here for Miszu is going to work wonderfully against something Roach heavy. Is going to work wonderfully against it. Again, Roaches that didn't really shoot up. If this was a Roach rush, Banshees would be ideal to help defending against it. But not just that, we have to scout. We have to get a read on what exactly is going on. So here we go. Queen's going to be rotating over. Roach is already in production. We are going to be main-darting over towards the third base for now. Okay, we're droning. I was curious if we're going to be droning or committing to Roach aggression. We are droning up our third. Reaper dips in. Big scout. We do get eyes on the Roach Warren. Miszu is now aware, and he is preparing back at home. He is going to be preparing. Getting into his own stim, getting into his own bio play here off of the back of the Hellion Banshee. Hellions are amassing. Usually these Hellions are a little bit more active, but it looks like, yeah, with this bunker, we're taking a defensive stance. We are assuming that Snoxtar is pushing with Roaches, and he was. He was moving out for a moment, revealed his hand, and pulls back because really he's droning. He fakes out a push. He's been happily droning behind this instead. Double E-base or double Evo chambers on the way here. Getting into lair tech, soon to be 1-1, soon to be into Roach speed. Committing into Roach play. Meanwhile, Miszu is in the midst of taking his third base and getting into the rest of his Rax production here. It's going to be a 3-1-1 setup, soon to be a 5-1-1 setup here on 3 bases. Third base is going to be delayed for a time, but Hellions should clean this up as there is no link speed. Link speed is heavily delayed, and all these links will go down. We do pick off 1 Hellion, but not the most efficient trade here. Looking at the units lost tab, that's been 16 Lings for 2 Hellions and 1 Reaper. That has not been a good trade for Snoxtar. Now the Hellions are going for a counterattack. Zooming across the map, headed towards that third base. Queens are getting in position. And just in time they will get here. Hellions going to try and bypass the Queens. We do lock down 2 of them. The boys, they're lining up. They're being pulled, and we should get 7 of them. Very nice trade here from Miszu. We may have lost all the Hellions, but that was, what, 8 Hellions for 7 drones, 1 for 1. Hellions, they do get outscaled as the game goes on, so you want to trade them out as best you can. Not a bad trade whatsoever. Meanwhile, at the same time, Banshees, they dip in. They get 1, they get 2. They get 1, they get 2 Roaches in total. No cloak in between the bases. Can we get a Queen? Not quite. Instead, we pick off 2 workers instead. Very nice pickoffs here from Miszu. Trading very nicely. Now the Banshees are out of position. The Banshees are out of position, so Snoxtar takes advantage of this, goes for a big counterattack. That's a kill on a bunker, a kill on an SCV. Gets a depot, and does the 9 mining here at the third. Ooh, we don't want to commit to a fight though. Well, we don't want to commit as Marauders have in the field. We do have a stim, and yeah, we can fight this back. We're bleeding out a lot of Roaches. A lot of Roaches going to be going down. We pick off the Overseer as well. Snoxtar does pull back. Did get some damage done, that is true, but that was still a costly trade. Behind this, we're going Roach Hydra. Interesting. So we have +1 range, which makes sense for Roach Ravager, but we're transitioning into Hydra, I imagine, into Lurker play. I imagine that's going to be the end goal here of Snoxtar. Very old school. Roach Hydra. Not really a composition you see too often anymore. You do see it mixed in by players like Dark, but usually if we're playing this style, we commit to Roach Ravager a little bit harder, and then we hard switch into Lurkers. Again, these range upgrades really do make a Lurker transition a little bit more seamless and quite effective. But we're not there yet. We're not on Hive Tech. I do think these Hydras are a little bit too premature. Here we go. We're diving on into the main base. We can pick off 1 Overlord before being forced back. Get some decent damage done here to the Medivacs. There's the Infestation Bin on the way for that eventual Hive Tech. Drop play coming in as well. Miszu going for a drop towards the south, double drop towards the north, trying to pull apart Snoxtar. And Snoxtar is out of position. He is out of position. Drones are going to be going down. Very nicely done here by Miszu. Ooh, gets 7 workers, and he's not done. Gets 9. 9 workers go down. Ay, ay, ay. The station bit, of course, still on the way. Now, it might be wise to go into Infestors initially. Because there are no Lurkers, there's no splash damage. No splash damage. Against Bio, that is a scary thought. A terrifying thought. And Infestors can actually help you quite a bit survive the initial Bio aggression. Without them, you're quite vulnerable until you get Lurkers out. With the Hive on the way, we should soon be seeing the Lurker deck. Should. Meanwhile, behind this, we do have our base being taken. 4th base on the way. Meanwhile, we can see Miszu just turtling up back at home, throwing down sensor towers, getting ready here to just map out on 8 Raxes in the main. getting his second factory up and running as well. So Snoxtar's army looking pretty terrifying, but he did back off. Right, initially he was going for drop play. The drop play has since subsided, and now Snoxtar can drone, and he's running up to 80. He's getting up to 80 workers, 5 bases. There's that lurker den that we were talking about. That was the whole plan. The whole point of this opener, of this build of Snoxtar, is the end goal, the end game of lurker tech, and we're getting there. And Snoxtar is just giving up map control. Typically, we would be active. We'd be fighting for creep, just pulling it further and further back, pushing it back, and just being as active as possible. Roach Ravager is very immobile compared to Ling Bane, compared to Mutas as well. So you can take advantage of that, but Miszu instead, he backs off. He allows the creep to get a bit out of control, and now we're focusing on one big push. Miszu, he has maxed out. One push to end it all. That's a lot of Hydras. That's a lot of Hydras here to defend. 5 Vipers on the way, but they just now started. We're pushing into tank range. And this mass Hydra army, it's so vulnerable. It's so fragile. It's not going to touch the bio. It cannot touch the bio. Snoxtar has to back off. He's gathering up energy here on these Vipers. And Miszu is coming. And again, this mass Hydra army, it's not ideal. The Vipers will help, though. There it is. Blinding Clouds are thrown down. Tanks are covered, but the bio, the mass Marine Marauder, stimming on forward, breaking through the Hydras, and the Hydra army melts. GG gets called, and Miszu will take game number 1. GG. Again, Snoxtar having a very unorthodox outlook here on this playstyle. So when it comes to what he was trying to go for, Roach Ravager into Lurker Tech is a thing. Is a thing you can do. But I even did mention it at the time about how typically you would throw down the Hydra tech and the upgrades, but you wouldn't actually make many Hydras. You would commit to Roach Ravager. And honestly, if we had a maxed out Roach Ravager army there instead of all the Hydras that we saw, we would fare a little bit better. In a head-to-head fight, Roach Ravager isn't really ideal, but the idea is that you bile down like a tank or two, you kite back, you slowly chip away at the army, you know, you can maybe remax with Hydras behind it, and ideally you work towards those lurkers, right? But going pure Hydra like that is not an ideal army, is very fragile, doesn't trade efficiently, and it's yeah. we saw why it just melts before Marine Marauder, alongside those tanks behind it, of course, as well. So in the end, Snoxtar, he was caught with his pants down. He had a bit of an odd composition, and Miszu took advantage of him. GG, well played. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Game number 2 going to be taking place on quite a different map. From Site Delta, we head on over to Alcyone. We have our lobby, we have our map, and we are getting ready to dive on in. And we'll see if Snoxtar can bounce back. Again, bit of a shaky game number 1, but at the same time, you know, we don't often have these kind of situations where we have to play in front of a crowd, you know, in a player booth with cameras on us. It is, I'm sure, a bit of a newer experience for some of these players, and we'll see if Snoxtar can bring it all back here. Can bring it back. As we dive into game 2. Just waiting for our players to be ready, and we can dive on in. Did you say out? Also, to quickly go over it, big shout out to Istan as well. I mean, there were a couple of resubs that were going on. I do apologize for missing them. 13. Thanks for 13 months of great SC2 casting. Looking forward to many more. Thank you for your support, Istan. It's been a year. It's been over a year of support. Thank you. And yes, as you mentioned, I'm sure many more years to come. Plenty of content planned, plenty of casting to come here over the course of this year, and as you said, many more. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Pap. And of course, a big shout out to Control. Control did give us a raid earlier, so thank you so much for the raid. I don't know if you're still around, but gracias a kamsahamnida. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of a raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. As we settle into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our red Polish Terran player leading the series 1-0. It is Miszu. And spawning in the top right, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player representing his new team, the Platinum Heroes. It is Snoxtar. Here we go. So we settle into Alkione. Again, Alkione, quite a large map. One of the larger maps in the map pool, known for its long late game as well. It's split map play. Snoxtar, could he have a more comfortable time here? Potentially, if he did plan on going for another kind of late game outlook. If he goes for another rush into, or another play into lurkers, into hive tech, if that's going to be his end game, his end goal, then this map could help him with that. Reason why, rush distance by ground is a little bit longer. Likewise, these ramps do help quite a lot when it comes to the defending player as well. You can rush into the goal base and be a little more greedy economically. You have options. You do have options here. But as I mentioned before, Snoxtar, he's mainly known for his aggression, for his cheese. So is that what we see here in game 2? Is that how we can bounce back and force the ace match? Personally, I'm hoping we can get an ace match here. But it's not on me. It's on the players. It's on Snoxtar. Here we go. But now though, we do have our rack expand. SCV Scout moving out for Miszu. Getting across the map. Trying to get a read on what is going on. Is moving out, and with this SCV Scout is going to be confirming the standard opener of our Zerg player. It's going to be a hatch gas pool. Third base is soon to be on the way, but hello, Monsieur Drone. Where are we going? The drone is rallied to a third base, rallied to the gold. So a very fast goal base here from Snoxtar. And can we get away with it is the question. Reaper is on the way from Miszu, moving out across the map. He's going to be dipping in towards that natural. He's going to be dancing with the units here of Snoxtar. How long will it take before we realize that the gold is on the way? How long will it take? So far, we're going to be dancing with the army. Snoxtar does prioritize link speed. There is that third base now in production. Miszu going to be backing up. Ooh, did take a lot of damage, actually. A lot of damage was dealt to the Reaper. Oh my god. Behind this third CC before Starport. Third CC is on the way. Queen trying to sneak up on that Reaper. Does pull back. Bearing in mind that this Zonaga does not reveal the goal bases. And Miszu hasn't confirmed the third base location. Not yet. Not yet, but soon will, as he's soon to be active on the map with these Hellions. Once again, he does turn back around quite quickly with that Reaper. Does race back home. And it's going to be the same opener. It's going to be a 3cc into Banshee, as we have the Tech Lab on the way, and we should soon be seeing that add-on swap. There it is, add-on swap from Miszu. Going for the Banshees. Now, what's concerning to me is that if the Banshees come out, if they come across this third base, they're going to knock it down. Fast Evo Chamber at a Snoxtar. Interesting. We're rushing into +1 Carapace of all things. I am curious here. As Queens, they try to catch the Reaper. Reaper checking for the third base location. We see the lack of triangular third. We see the lack of linear third. Big scout here out of Miszu. He realizes that, hold on, something is clearly wrong. And the drones, the main node has been spotted. This could only mean one thing only, the goal base. And the Reaper will chase these drones all the way to the gold as well. At the same time, big link counterattack, but we have Hellions to defend. And the Hellions will roast up these links. We got one SCV. Only one worker does fall. Two drones go down to the Reaper. Reaper does confirm the gold. And now we have an objective. We have a goal here for Miszu. Deny the gold. And here comes the Cloak Banshees. Cloak Banshees, they are on the horizon already. The first one moving out. Cloak isn't done yet. Spore Crawlers have not been thrown down. Snoxtar a little bit vulnerable, but there we go. Spores now starting up here in every single mineral line. And can we hold? Can we survive? Can we get away with the gold? Now, the +1 carapace is an interesting one. Okay, we are going to be getting into Ling Bane. Ling Bane on the way here for Snoxtar, not roaches this time. Oh, no. Meanwhile, Miszu going to be embracing his inner demon here. It is going to be a mech. 2 more factories on the way. Mech on the horizon here for our Terran player. Being run by dips in. Helion's going to be able to deal with it. Cloak is soon to finish up here. Not done yet, as the Banshees do threaten the gold. Unable to find too much damage, though. Ooh, as we do try to ignore the queens. Get a couple of tumors. We push towards the natural base, where we do have a couple of spore crawlers already set up. Spores are set up. We're just amassing lings as we speak. But again, we're working towards Blue Flame into, I imagine, Cyclone production. And I do worry here for Snoxtar. Last game, Snoxtar blindly went into roaches. This game, he hasn't scattered. Snoxtar, as he's been getting into his own Ling Bane, he hasn't seen the build of his opponent, doesn't know what exactly he's amassing, doesn't know what he's running into, but he doesn't care. Snoxtar is all in. He's cutting workers. He's fully saturated at the gold base. He is undersaturated at the natural. He's cutting workers at 41, and he's going for a big Ling Bane all in. The queens are welding across the map. This is going to be a timing with +1 carapace. Queens have been spotted. We now know of the all in, but can we stop it? That's a lot of Hellion. Oh my god. That's a lot of Hellions. Ay, ay, ay. Baneling speed is nowhere near being done. The Lings are being roasted. We're going to try and get us around. Hellbats are morphed in. And the Lings, they cannot lock down the Hellions. They slip away, and we clean up every single Ling. The Banelings, they crash into the SCVs. But the Banelings, they line up. They get shut down, and the mass Hellion comes out on top. As we do kite back the Lings. The Lings, they melt. We had no idea that we were running into mech. That's the problem. We had no idea that we were running into a wall of Hellions. And the barbecue is real. Cyclone's on the way, so now we can just shut down these queens. As there's only a handful of Lings left that are trickling in. Blue Flame is now done. Blue Flame does finish up Wick. Slowly breaking through, though. We're running out of Hellions. Banshee gets focused down. Ooh, but we do get the final queen. And there is still a handful of Hellions remaining. And again, they are Blue Flame Hellions. They roast up all these Lings. And we do survive. And now Snoxtar is in an awful position. He's in an awful position. He was all in. He had cut worker production. Now he's droning, but he's behind in workers. Despite the bathing connections, despite all the dead SCVs, and we did kill 16 SCVs, doesn't matter. Miszu still has an economic lead. He's still ahead, and now he has map control. Now he has map control. We see Snoxtar trying to get into roach production. Tumors are being knocked down. Additional factories on the way. Winter mines on the way as well. As Miszu is refining his army, getting into Cyclone Hellion. And Snoxtar getting into roaches, but still trying to re-drone and resaturate his bases. The gold base is helping, what I will say. The gold base is helping Snoxtar stay afloat, but still is behind. 4th CC on the way. Liberator moving out on the right-hand side. We're working on 2-2, working on +2 vehicle weapons and plating. Still continuing Banshee production, which I do enjoy. We've all been there. Unfortunate double scan. That's a bit of a misclick. That was meant to be a mule. That was, I'm sure, meant to be double mules instead. As they're working towards a Ghost Academy. Ghost is going to be on the way. Alongside the mech army. Liberator rocks up. Is going to be able to deny mining here at the 4th. As long as we can. As the roaches have been revealed, and we dive into the mineral line. Meanwhile, Snoxtar, he's cut workers once again. He's cut workers here at 50, going for a second all-in. Bailings from behind. We connect here on some of the Cyclones. Not too bad. Boys are being pulled, but a little bit too late. And the roaches, can we break in? No. The answer is we cannot. We are killing a lot of workers once again. That's going to be 23 SCVs going down. Miszu still has a worker lead. And nothing shoots up. The Banshees are wreaking havoc here. The tank count is still looking solid behind this. We do deny mining at the 3rd, but we have a 4th on the way. We have a 4th base on the way. Snoxtar being forced back once again. as he now re-drones, getting into Aspire Tech. Miszu still has his economic lead, still has the 4th base soon to be up and running. We are still getting into more Banshees. Now, this meter switch is an interesting one. Because the Roaches were just revealed, Miszu is rebuilding and focusing on anti-ground army. Tanks, Hellions, Banshees on the way. We don't have any more Cyclones. The Cyclone count was reset, so a meter switch could work well if it goes unscattered. If it goes unscattered, if there are no Cyclones, if there are no Thors, then we can have our way with this army. Nothing shoots up. Outside of the Widow Mines, but there's like a handful of Widow Mines. Scan in the center of the map. Trying to get a read on the army. Scan as well here. Catches some of the Roaches. Keen eye there out of Miszu as he does pull back. Oh, Miszu coming in with some Hellions. We are reinforcing with Thors, though. Thors are in the mix as the mutas are on the way. Miszu, he is just refining his army, ready for a muta switch in case that were to occur. So again, good foresight out of Miszu, aware of like his vulnerabilities. Cyclones in production as well. And Snoxtar is at least denying the 4th. He is at least denying the 4th base. Ooh, oh god. As he dives on some of the tanks, but every single rush is going to be going down. The mutas have revealed themselves. The Thors are not here yet. And we just shut down 1. We shut down 2 tanks. Really good trade so far from these mutas, but the Thors are here. My god, they are beefy Thors. They have arrived. Thor volley is going to be going up here on the mutas. And at the same time across the map, we do have the Banshees wreak havoc and a Hellion run by. Hellions, they get into the mineral lines. They try to, but they run into the Roaches. Damage, though, is being done. Even though we get 8 SCVs across the map, we have killed 12 drones. Ooh, the mutas are on A move. Not like this. The mutas are on A move, and they will be shut down by the Thors. Likewise, Banshees still wreaking havoc. 21 workers go down. And it looks like we will not be getting a back and forth here. Snoxtar had a different approach. Again, he went all in, and he ran into Hellions. Unscattered Hellions. He ran into a wall of Hellions, and his Lingbane evaporated. From that moment, Snoxtar has been on the back foot. He's been behind. Tried to go for a secondary Roach all-in. Didn't work either. Miszu had already been working towards tank production, and his tanks held the line. And now, as we try to go for a Hail Mary play into mutas, Miszu already had Thors. Already had Thors coming out. And Snoxtar, no matter what he tries, Miszu, he's there one step ahead. Is just constantly one step ahead here. Snoxtar going for one final push, one final Hail Mary here from our Polish Zerg player. He's pushing in, does catch a tank. Tank's looking quite exposed. The Biles. Ooh, they connect with the Banshees of all things. Very nice Biles here, but we have an insane mech army. And we're going to be able to shut this down. As we waddle on forward, we focus on every single one of these Ravagers. GG gets called, and Miszu will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. And as we wrap up this group stage match, a big shout out to Thriving GG in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the House Galactic Battle, to the group stage for the time being. If you're unaware, this event is a Polish offline event. It is a LAN event currently occurring over in the land of Poland. As you can see, we have player cams, our players just discussing the games themselves. There's Snoxtar, there's Miszu, there's so we're getting out of the way of the camera. But yeah, it is an offline LAN event that is currently going on in Poland, and we are the official English broadcast for the event. And we have an entire day of Galactic Battle up ahead of us, of the House Galactic Battle. This is merely the group stage. If you're a fan of players like Laser, Geralt, Spirit, Christiana, Rodzin, Nurchio, if you're an old school fan, Nurchio is there as well. So we have plenty of players from across Poland duking it out in this offline event. And here we go. You can see the group stage. You can see some results coming in here. No big upsets. Yeah, no big upsets yet. We have Cristiano 2-0ing Fnatic. We have Nurchio 2-0ing Yemiol. We have Spirit, who did take down Trifax 2-0 as well. Rodzin coming out on top. Geralt on top over Aristri. Just looking at some of the details here. Aristri versus Geralt. That was a 2-0 in favor of Geralt. And likewise, a Laser as well as Miszu 2-0ing their respective opponents. So nothing but 2-0 so far. But the big names are soon to be facing off. They're about to duke it out here. We're going to be going on a short break as players do have to get ready in the player booths. As you can imagine, whenever we cast a series, players do have to get their setup going here in the booths as they are on stage, as they are in front of a crowd. And up next, we have another legend from times gone by. We have Papi up against Dana. Let's go. Again, we did feature Dana earlier in the FFA show match. Dana, of course, was the first to realize that Miszu was getting out of control with BCs, and his cries were left unanswered. So Dana going to be featured against Papi. I'm excited. I'm very excited. For those that are maybe newer viewers and newer fans of StarCraft, Dana is an old school retired player. There's a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a bit of a trend. There's a bit of a theme. That's it. This is a theme when it comes to this tournament, and that is the legends have returned. There have been invites on since retired players. Pal is a player in Group A that retired back in 2014. We have, of course, Nurchio, Paranoid, and Dana, all retired players from early Legacy of the Void from 2016 to 2017. They haven't really been competing much at all, but they have been brought back into the fold in this LAN event. It's great to see them all still embracing StarCraft after many years of retirement. They've all come back, and really cool to see them again. But what is their form? Again, Dana hasn't been competing since 2016. Like, it's been a long time. So I'm curious what he is going to be looking like against Papi, a more modern player. Papi, a newer player that kind of rose through the ranks in the COVID era of StarCraft many years after the retirement of Dana. So, yeah, I'm curious. I am curious here. Again, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we'll have Dana versus Papi. See you soon.